Beyond Thought and Form, often emphasizes that human suffering and limitation stem from over-identification with thought and external forms. Most people live their lives dominated by the mind, constantly reacting to inner narratives, judgments, and the appearances of the external world. Tolle teaches that true freedom, presence, and spiritual awakening arise when we move beyond thought and form, connecting with the timeless, formless essence of being. 1. Understanding thought and form. In Tolle's teachings, thought refers to the continuous mental activity that creates identity, stories, judgments, and interpretations of reality. Form refers to the outer appearances, including material objects, social roles, and physical circumstances. While thought and form are useful for functioning in the world, over-identification with them creates egoic attachment and separation, continuous mental noise and restlessness, emotional reactions and suffering, a sense of limitation and incompleteness. Humans naturally project meaning onto forms and rely on thought to define themselves. The problem arises when thought and form become the core of self, masking the deeper reality of pure awareness and presence. 2. The trap of identification. The ego thrives on identification with thought and form. When we believe we are our roles, possessions, relationships, or mental patterns, we feel a false sense of self. This identification leads to a fear of losing possessions, status, or recognition, anxiety over how others perceive us, emotional dependency on external validation, repetitive mental narratives that reinforce suffering. Tolle explains that this identification is the root of most human discontent. As long as the self is defined by external forms or conceptual thought, it remains impermanent, vulnerable, and reactive. 3. Recognizing the observer. Breaking free begins with the realization that you are not your thoughts or forms. Tolle emphasizes cultivating the observer, the conscious awareness that witnesses thoughts without being absorbed by them, emotions without reacting compulsively, external events without defining self-worth by them. This recognition is subtle yet powerful. By disidentifying with thought and form, you access a space of stillness and inner freedom, where true being resides. 4. The role of presence. Presence, the deep awareness of the here and now, is the gateway to moving beyond thought and form. Presence involves fully experiencing the current moment without mental interference, observing thoughts as transient phenomena, not reality, seeing forms as temporary expressions of energy rather than as defining self. Through presence, Tolle teaches that you can experience life directly, unmediated by mind-based interpretations or attachment to external circumstances. Presence is not a concept. It is direct perception of life as it is. 5. The illusion of mental reality. Most human suffering is caused by living in the mental construct rather than reality itself. Thought constantly judges, plans, compares, and analyzes, creating unnecessary anxiety about the future, a guilt or regret tied to the past, endless dissatisfaction with what is. Tolle notes that when you step beyond thought, you recognize the difference between reality and the mind's interpretation. Reality is neutral and ever-present. Thought overlays it with narratives and judgments, often leading to suffering. 6. Letting go of attachment to form. Attachment to form is another barrier to inner freedom. This includes clinging to material possessions, appearance, or social status, a defining identity through roles, relationships, or achievements, judging life as good or bad based on external conditions. Tolle teaches that forms are temporary and ever-changing, while the essence of life, pure awareness, is eternal. Letting go does not mean renouncing life. It means seeing forms without letting them define your inner state. 7. Transcending duality. Thought and form often create dualistic thinking. Good/bad, right/wrong, success/failure. Tolle explains that this duality traps consciousness, making us reactive and dependent on external circumstances for validation. By moving beyond thought and form, you experience life as a flow of presence, not a series of judgments. Do you see unity in diversity rather than separation in difference? Do emotional and mental reactions diminish, replaced by clarity and acceptance? This transcendence allows life to be experienced directly, not filtered through conditioned mental patterns. 8. Embracing the formless. The formless refers to the unmanifested, timeless consciousness underlying all appearances. Moving beyond thought and form involves anchoring in awareness rather than conceptualization, recognizing the essence behind material reality, experiencing the silent presence that permeates all life. Tolle stresses that the formless is always present, but it can only be perceived when the mind ceases to dominate experience. In this state, one connects with peace, joy, and freedom that are independent of circumstance. 9. Silence as a gateway. Silence is a powerful tool in transcending thought and form. Tolle teaches that a listening to silence brings awareness to the unchanging presence. A stillness allows the mind to rest, revealing the essence beyond thought. The regular practice of inner quiet dissolves identification with stories, judgments, and ego. Through silence, one discovers life in its raw, unmediated state, beyond the limitations imposed by mental constructs. 10. Mindful observation of form. While moving beyond thought and form, Tolle does not suggest rejecting or ignoring the world. Instead, he advocates mindful observation, engaging with forms without attachment or judgment, appreciating beauty, utility, and life without identification, performing actions consciously rather than reactively. This approach allows practical life engagement while maintaining inner freedom and presence. 11. The role of surrender. Surrender is central to going beyond thought and form. Tolle emphasizes accepting reality as it is without mental resistance, trusting the flow of life without insisting on control, allowing the mind to step aside, revealing the timeless essence. Surrender does not imply passivity. It is active acceptance, where energy is aligned with life instead of wasted in resistance. 12. Beyond conceptualization. Concepts, categories, and labels are mental constructs. Tolle teaches that ultimate reality cannot be captured by thought. Moving beyond thought and form involves recognizing that language and ideas are tools, not reality itself. Experiencing phenomena directly, not through interpretation. Transcending conceptual limitations to access pure being. This allows consciousness to experience life fully, free from distortion and limitation. 13. Integration into daily life. Moving beyond thought and form is a practice, not an abstract idea. Tolle recommends 1. Observe your thoughts without attachment. 2. Notice emotional reactions as transient, not defining you. 3. Engage with forms mindfully without identification. 4. Practice presence and silence regularly. 5. Surrender to life, trusting the flow. 6. Detach from dualistic judgments, seeing life as it is. With consistent practice, life becomes less reactive, more peaceful, and deeply aware. 14. Spiritual implications. From a spiritual perspective, thought and form are part of the relative world, which is transient and ever-changing. True liberation arises when consciousness rests in the timeless, formless essence. Awakening involves disidentifying from mental constructs and external appearances, experiencing reality directly. Beyond thought and form, there is a deep, silent presence that is whole, complete, and eternal. Tolle emphasizes that this state is not achieved through effort alone. It emerges when resistance dissolves and awareness deepens. 15. Conclusion. Beyond thought and form is a journey from egoic identification to conscious presence. Eckhart Tolle guides us to recognize thought and form as useful tools, not ultimate reality. Disidentify from the mental narratives and external labels that create suffering. Embrace presence, silence, and mindfulness. Surrender to life while engaging consciously with the world. Experience the timeless essence of being, which is beyond judgment, duality, and limitation. By stepping beyond thought and form, we discover true freedom, peace, and connection with life. Awareness becomes the anchor, presence becomes the guide, and life is experienced directly, unfiltered by egoic interpretation or attachment to appearances.